Conservation Commission meeting for February the 11th, 2021. We operate under the Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Chapter 26 of the Town of Danvers General Bylaw, the Wetlands Protection Bylaw. Our meeting will go as follows. We'll call each applicant on the agenda. They'll present his or her request, and the board will have time to ask questions and discuss the project. After that, we will accept questions from the audience. Because this is a public meeting, it is required by law that you give your name and address before you speak. Although we may disagree on the issues raised, all persons present during this meeting are expected to be civil to all other meeting attendees. This includes members of the commission, staff, abutters, concerned citizens, property owners, and project applicants. We also want to remind you that we'd ask that you confine your questions to the project only as it pertains to the Wetlands Act. We cannot handle, nor do we have jurisdiction regarding such things as noise or traffic. All problems not related to the Wetlands Protection Act and the Town of Danvers Wetlands Protection Bylaw must be taken up with the appropriate other boards. Moving forward, I'm going to call a roll call for Danvers Commission. Michael Splain.
Yeah.
Chelsea King.
Here.
Ann McGill.
Here.
Peter Wilson is here, and Vanessa Curran will not be attending this evening. We have to go through a script that we read for every meeting that covers the way we work with the open meeting laws. So first off, staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Georgia Pendergast.
Sorry, I'm present and David Fields is not present.
Okay, Alicia.
Present.
Okay, going one step back, Georgia, you'll be handling any email comments?
Correct.
Okay. Anticipated speakers on the agenda, please respond if you're here. For 17 Dartmouth Street, Jason Leonard, who's the homeowner. David Cowell, his consultant.
Oh, hi guys, I'm here.
Hi, Dave. For 22 Beaver Park Road, Steve King of the Town of Danvers.
Present here.
Josh Treaches.
Yep, Josh here, present.
And Stephanie Beaver.
Yes, present.
Okay, and I think there's a couple members of the public that if they would want to speak, just pipe up when I call for public comment.
We will.
Okay.
Sorry, we will also Dan Canada from VHB will be helping present tonight as well. Who's on the call?
Okay. And you're with 22 Beaver Park Road?
Correct.
That's correct.
Thanks. Okay. Good evening. This open meeting of the Danvers Conservation Commission is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12th, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order, which you can find posted on the town's website, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will feature public comment only. For this meeting, the Conservation Commission meeting is being convened remotely via the Webex app, as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that some attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you, and take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. Supporting materials that have been provided members of this body and will be shown during this transmission. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless I note otherwise. Some basic ground rules for our meeting. We'll now turn to the agenda. Before we do so, permit me to show, to just highlight some rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. I will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, the chair will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called. Further, please remember to mute your phone or computer when you are not speaking. Please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in colloquy with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by a roll call vote. Moving on to our agenda, the first item is a continued public hearing. Notice of intent for 17 Dartmouth Street, DEP number file 14. I'm sorry, file number 14-1357. And who's here to represent the applicant?
Hi, folks. I'm here on behalf of the applicant. My name is David Cowell, Senior Wetland Scientist with Hancock Associates. In what I hope will be a brief hearing and an update to our project. As of the last hearing, we had asked for a waiver from the 35-foot setback zone for the proposed addition. We were denied the request. So what we've done is we went back. We actually went back to the contractor, and the contractor said that although it's not ideal, he can make it work. So we've shifted the entire addition. I think it was like 3 or 3.5 feet to vacate the 35-foot zone line. So what we submitted the other day, which is before you in front of us in presentation, the addition now is held such that the far left corner of this is held at the 35-foot no disturb. So we've made that shift to vacate outside of the 35-foot. The other thing that we had deliberated on was that he had an existing wood shed inside of the 25-foot no disturb zone that we had said that it was existing non-conforming, and the commission had asked us if we could demonstrate that. So I talked to the applicant, the property owner. He said that I think he's lived there for 14 years, and that had been there at the time he had purchased the property. It came with the property. But rather than go down the rabbit hole of looking for prior plans of record, the applicant has acquiesced to moving that shed. So we've carried it says C note 7 on the wood shed, and note 7 says that we will relocate the shed on the premises beyond the 35-foot no build line. So he doesn't know exactly where on the property, but he's made that commitment to relocate the shed beyond the 35-foot zone, someplace else on the property. If you guys really need to know exactly where it is, we would ask that you guys just stipulate in the order of conditions that it could be a milestone where we'll commit to relocate it, and we can just say, prior to consideration of issuance of a certificate of compliance, we can always give you guys a location for review and approval prior to execution, and just find another location on his lot to move it. So we're committed to move it. We just don't know where he'll site it.
Is that all you have, Dave?
That's it. Yeah, it was those 2 revisions that we hope gets us over the hump towards closing. We vacated the 35, and we're committed to move the shed.
Okay, I'm thrilled that you've gotten out of the 35 and not asking to operate in there. But where is your scope of work? To build the addition? I'm sure you're going to have to go into the 35. And are there erosion control plans here that I don't see?
Yep, the hatch line on the outside, we're still carrying perimeter sediment controls, inside the 25. That's it. Yep, I think George is going along that line.
Okay,
that's the perimeter erosion controls. In terms of the addition and in construction process of building the addition, that you might have contractors out there that are staging within the 35-foot zone during construction. But in existing condition, that's all turf lawn. There's not going to be heavy equipment out here. You know, these guys, if they do anything, you know, they might be operating maybe a bobcat or a small skid steer. You know, I don't know if they need a bucket truck to elevate, but it's really going to be contractors on the ground, you know, laborers with ladders that might be some foot traffic in there during construction. So we're committed to, if there's any disturbance within, you know, say 10 feet of the addition while they're in there working, we're committed to restore it in kind to the existing condition. So in this case, where it's currently turf lawn, they would just replace it, you know, if there's any just superficial disturbance while they're working around in there.
Okay. Now, Dave, when you were here 2 weeks back, they had, the addition had shrunk by 17 by 20. Is that right? And now you're just going to shift it to the right so that it all.
Yeah, that's the one thing that Mr. Leonard really wanted was the 20 by 20 foot dimension. You know, we said that one of the site constraints is that it sort of conflicts with his floor plan where his kitchen is now and where the bay window is now. But he'd rather live with the 20 by 20 dimension than his contractor said he could overcome those things. I think it adds a little bit of additional work to reconcile where his kitchen is now. There'll be a wall. This is a master bedroom that he's putting on the house. So where the bay window right now, as you can see it, like essentially the addition is going to be right outside of that bay window. He'll live with that. And where the kitchen is, there'll be a wall in between where his kitchen is and the master bedroom. It's not ideal, but his contractor said he could make it work to still maintain the 20 by 20 foot dimension without any surface area. Yeah.
All right, that's good for them. Okay, I have no further questions. So let me turn it over to the other members of the board, see what they might ask. First I'll ask is Mike.
Yeah, well, first, I'd like to thank the applicant and their representative for agreeing to address our concerns. And I'd be inclined to approve this. I don't have any questions.
Okay, thanks. Ann. Ann, are you still there?
Yes, I am. I had trouble unmuting. I'm delighted that they can get their 20 by 20 and the contractor can make that happen for them outside of the 35. In terms of the location of the shed, they agreed to move it. I accept that they have a very large backyard there where they could put it someplace that's convenient for them that would be outside of our zones. So I'm inclined, like Mike, to approve this based on all of their activities.
Thank you, Ann.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Ann. Chelsea, any comments?
No, just I agree. I'm really glad these changes were made. I think it makes the project much better. So I'll approve it. Yeah.
Okay, good. Let me just open it up for public comment. Is there anyone emailing, Georgia? You're muted.
Sorry about that. No one's emailed.
Okay, Alicia, you there? Are there any phone calls regarding this?
No public comments.
Okay, are there any comments from anyone that's tuned in to the meeting as part of this WebEx meeting?
Mr. Chairman, can I make just one quick comment?
Certainly.
Steve King, town engineer for Danvers. Just wanted to ask the applicant regarding the positioning of the dry well, if that's going to be a structure or is that going to just be a crushed stone kind of infill hole or excavation? And then just the proposed, just crushed stone, no structure?
No structure, yeah. It'll be, there won't be anything daylighted at the surface. It'll be below surface.
Okay, so that's going to be an intended dry well?
Dry well.
Yep.
Okay. And then the sewer service construction that I'm seeing proposed here, that 4-inch line?
What, yes.
Proposed 4-inch line. We typically only allow one service per building.
Okay,
So you may want to let your applicant know that we wouldn't allow that additional service to come from the rear of the property to feed that proposed addition.
okay, all right, yeah, I'll let the contractor know that. Yeah, I mean, that's something we can make an administrative change and just, submit a revised site plan. So this is, it's on sewer, right? These aren't on septic out here, so that's, so there's one sewer tie-in to the municipal sewer system?
That's correct. Yep, it's already on town sewer and town water.
Okay, perfect. Yep, so I'll let them know that their plumbing needs to be, arranged such that there's one line and not adding a second line. Okay, yeah, I don't think that's insurmountable. Steve, I appreciate the comments.
Okay, so I think that's it for comment, unless anyone else wants to jump in real quick. Okay, hearing none, I think I would entertain a motion to close this hearing.
I move that we close the public hearing for 17 Dartmouth Street, DEP file number 14-1357.
Okay, motion to close, is there a second?
I second the motion.
Okay, all in favor, Ann McGill,
Yes,
Michael Splain,
Yes.
Chelsea King,
Yes.
and Peter Wilson, yes. Okay, now if someone can make a motion that we issue a order of conditions for 17 Dartmouth Street, please.
All right, I'll move that we issue an order of conditions for 17 Dartmouth Street, DEP file number 14-1357, based on representation by the applicant and its representative that the shed will be removed outside of the 25 and 35. I assume he means both 25 and 35. And that based on the representation in the plan that they have removed the addition from the no build area. And with the note that any disturbance that occurs in the 25 will be restored as represented by the applicant.
Very good. The motion has been made. Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
All in favor? Chelsea King,
Aye.
Ann McGill,
Yes,
Michael Splain,
Aye.
Peter Wilson, yes. Okay, you're good to go. Good luck.
Outstanding. Thank you so much for your
Bye-bye.
time and your assistance. Yep.
Be in
Mike,
touch
you
with
look pretty
Georgia.
sharp tonight. And,
Thank you.
yep, no, that's great. I'm glad we found common ground.
Good,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you.
All right, be well, guys.
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Okay, next up is a notice of intent for 22 Beaver Park Road, which is all part of the rail trail right away, DEP file number 14-13. Are we not having a complete DEP number here, Georgia?
It should be. Sorry, the agenda has been updated since then. Hold on one second. Alicia. Sorry about that. 14-1360.
1360.
Yep.
Okay, and the applicant is the town of Danvers, and I understand that Stephen King is here to present the project too.
Hi, good evening, Mr. Chairman again. Yes, Stephen King from the Town of Danvers Engineering Division. I'm here with the team from VHB, Josh, Stephanie, and Dan to talk about the proposed rail trail bridge over Beaver Brook between Hobart Street and Beaver Park Road. I'm just going to give a kind of a brief intro, kind of a little bit of background, and then let the VHB take over, present any slides and plans that they have and answer any questions that you may have as well. So this is actually this is our first leg of really getting involved and making the westward extension happen for the town. This has been a great project to work on. We've actually been able to completely fund this design and this construction through grants from the Commonwealth. So for the town's first real investment in infrastructure to expand the trail, we've gotten a great support from both the external stakeholders at the state and also the Rail Trail Committee. So we've been very excited to move the project forward. We had a great direct abutters meeting last night. We had a chance to present the project to the direct the butters and have them answer any questions or concerns they may have, and give them an overview of our timeline, construction, and just the general things that they'll be seeing happening in the next few months. So the rail trail bridge, we've proposed to, I'm going to go into more detail, but it's basically going to be a prefabricated structure with timber. There'll be timber piles, composite decking material with wood, cable railings, and posts as well, for pretty much the layout. The biggest constructability issue that we see right now is just being able to drive the pile supports in for the bridge, with the electric right of way that spans over the existing the riverbed. So at this point, I'll let Josh and his team kind of take over and take you through the rest of the project.
Thanks.
Great. Oh, sorry, Josh, go ahead.
Nope, I was actually going to just turn it over to Dan, who's going to run through the environmental impacts of the project for us.
Sure. And am I good to share my own screen?
You are now. I just passed it off to you, Dan.
Great, thank you. Okay, is this presenting clearly for everyone?
Do you mind making it full screen?
Make it
Dan?
bigger.
We just see everything you see, so like the sidebars and everything. This usually happens, and I always forget how to make it fuller view.
There's always an Adobe update, yes.
Yeah.
There we go. Simple solution there.
Perfect.
Great. Okay, so I'm Dan Kanata. I'm an environmental scientist at VHB. And as Steve was saying, this project is a proposed section of shared use path along the utility right-of-way between Beaver Park Road and Hobart Street. Overall, it's about a 400-foot stretch that includes the trail that's 10 feet wide and also the proposed bridge crossing over Beaver Brook. Might be a bit of a lag here, but I'll just get to our project limits. So one thing that's not showing up here is our markup. We had added some color to this here to just clearly show our buffers, but that is no worries. We will move on with that. So again, the project is along the utility right-of-way, and it has the crossing right here at Beaver Brook. We do not propose any work within the channel of the brook, nor do we have any work that would impact the limits of bank along the channel. Erosion and sedimentation controls are proposed along their limits of work here, enclosing the edges there, and same thing on the opposite side. The project has been designed to avoid impacts to the regulatory floodway that's associated with Beaver Brook right here. So the pilings are located right outside of that for the bridge support structures. Some of this work is within the 100-year floodplain, or BLSF. That's going to be very minor impact, and to mitigate for that, we are proposing a compensatory flood storage area by grading out this area to provide actually an increase in flood storage capacity at the project limits here. The approaching sections of path, this is contained entirely within the 200-foot riverfront area. But as we were stating before, this is within a mode-maintained utility right-of-way, so this is degraded from its natural state. Additionally, the project is going to require unavoidable work within the 25-foot no disturb zone and 35-foot no construction zone. Because this is involves the bridge construction over the brook, this is unavoidable. So we are asking for a variance from the bylaw provisions of those two zones. I'm going to turn it over now to Josh Fiarkas, who's going to talk a little more about the bridge structure proposed at the crossing. And Josh, just let me know if you need me to change slides.
Yep, no, this is perfect. So thank you, everyone. Steve did a quick overview. Just go in a little more detail. The bridge itself will be a timber structure. It will be supported on timber piles. These will be pre-drilled and driven to support the abutment as well as the wing walls. And there'll also be separate piles for intermediate span. So the bridge itself will have a 15-foot span that will be supported on the abutment as well as the intermediate piles. Then there'll be a center 45-foot span and then a secondary 15-foot span from either end. The decking for the bridge, as Steve mentioned, will be composite lumber. There'll be timber railings as well. They'll have cable slats in the middle for security purposes. The piles themselves are intended to be about 30 foot in length to get the embedment needed. And then in terms of construction, the intent is that the piles will be driven in advance. There'll be the timber cladding for the abutments will be installed. This will then be backfilled from the excavation, and this will actually be stick built and put in place beam by beam by either an excavator or a small crane. So this will be built on site, not prefabricated. Again, in this will be going out to bid to a contractor. So in terms of means and methods, they may have additional, they may choose to prefabricate some pieces, but the intent is that this would be built on site. We do have, Dan, if you want to slide down to the bottom, the last two sheets, just to give a few examples. They'll show up. It seems to be a little laggy.
I'm gonna try it out of full screen and see if it'll load a little quicker.
We should get Jeopardy music
Yeah, right?
for every time this happens.
It worked fine in rehearsal.
Yes.
It does. Dan,
I can try closing and reopening if that works when all
Yeah.
else fails.
let's give it a shot.
When all else fails, reboot. Let me ask a quick question while we're waiting. How many piles are you planning to drive?
I believe there will be. I actually don't have the exact number, and it will. So this will be design built, or fully designed by the bridge manufacturer. So in terms of the number of piles in the intermediate piles adjacent to the bank of the stream, we anticipate 2 piles on either side with some cross spacing. And then for the abutment itself, there may be 3 or 4 piles to support the abutment. And then additionals for the wing walls.
So does this give us a good idea of what we're seeing here?
Yes, so that's what the intent is here. So this picture is an example of another bridge, similar construction, where you can see. So I guess in this one there's 3 piles for those intermediate support, where you can see that there's a smaller, in this case, a 10 to 15 foot span, and then a larger center span. So this is the intent. It would be a general, the general design as shown here.
But you're saying that instead of the stone abutment, it's going to be piles and then some kind of retaining structure?
Yes, it'll have like a wood cladding face to it rather than stone.
And that'll be the abutment. So that'll be on either side. That's what carries. And how many different intermediate ones crossing?
There's
2 or 3
one on
sets?
either side. One, so you can see in the elevation view down below, there'll be a
Yeah.
foot span to an intermediate piers that are on either side of the bank.
Right. And how far down are these piles going to go? Did I hear 30 feet?
Yes, that's the intent.
Okay. And whatever, I mean, the people obviously have done this before, so they have to keep their spoils out of the stream, right? So they're, okay. Oh, good, yeah, I think this is a great project, so let's just see what everyone else thinks. Are you, do you have more to say, Josh, or should I?
No, we do have just to give a little more, Dan, if you want to go down to the next picture, it just shows again, this is a little different. This one has a curvature to it, but just in terms of the look of the bridge. This has a wood decking. We would have a composite decking similar to like a Trex system.
Right.
And then
It's
this is a similar railing with the cable.
Right. Okay. Okay, are you all set? Would you like me to? Okay, let me open it up to questions from the members. I think we'll start with Mike. If you,
Mike, I muted you earlier. I'm sorry. So you're on mute.
All right, can you hear me?
yes, we
All
can.
right, that's good. Just a question on the compensatory storage provided. The question is, how do you propose to provide the compensatory storage for the lost flood storage volume?
Yes, I can scroll back up to our plan there. So there is an area proposed on the north side of the crossing. And this area here is proposed to be graded out at a volume that will actually provide an increase in flood storage capacity following our impact here. Our fill is somewhere around the lines of about 13 cubic feet of fill, and this is going to provide an increase of about 48 cubic feet within the project limits.
So is that like digging out sort of like a detention or retention area? Is that what that means?
Not so much retention, but more just changing the grade so that it is within the flood elevations there, so it expands really the limit of the area to support flood storage.
Yeah, it's just pulling back the embankment slope a little bit to provide that
Right.
storage.
I think storage is probably a misnomer. I think it's just allowing more water to pass through there.
In a way, yes, is flood storage in kind of the regulatory sense of it, but yes, is for flow that's probably a better way to describe
Right.
it.
So it's probably flattening out the slope there, Mike.
All right, that was my question. Thank you. That's the only question I had. I like the project.
Okay, thanks, Mike. Chelsea, any questions or comments?
No, I agree. I like the project. And I was gonna ask about the compensatory flood storage too, and this sounds like a good solution. So, no questions.
Okay, Ann, any questions? Any comments?
No additional, the storage was the only thing that I would know about asking. The piles and the depth of the piles seem appropriate. I mean, you have to have really strong poles there to last. And no other comments. Thank you.
Okay, and from what I heard last night, just to recap, I think we were anticipating construction this coming fall.
Correct. We'll be going out to bid in the spring, hoping to start some work in the summer and then the bridge work in the fall.
Good. Okay, and then I just when someone makes a motion for an order of conditions, we just have to make sure that the erosion control for spoils getting into the stream is taken care of. Okay, before we close the public hearing, I guess we need to ask for a public comment. So the first would be from the emails. Are there any emails, Georgia?
Yes, we have no emails or phone calls. No public comment.
Okay, anyone that's listening in on the meeting have any comments that they would like to make?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, this is Matthew Duggan.
Hello, Matthew.
Good evening. This is Matthew Duggan, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 1, and also a longtime original member of the Rail Trail Committee. I just want to speak first about the banks. So there's been significant erosion over the years. There's a lot of debris in the brook itself along that stretch. Just downstream was a culvert that was installed under Pickering Street a few years ago. So that area has been cleaned up. But this bank here is irregular, and I'm just, earlier in the presentation, there was a mention that there will be no remediation to the bank in terms of riprap or any hardening or of the bank. So I don't understand how that can be when you're working so close to the edge there that there inevitably will be, um, work or impact that's happened on the banks. And can someone just speak to what that is going to look like in the future, that when the bridge is completed, project's completed, what is the existing bank going to look like?
So this will be restored. Anything that is disturbed within the limits of work will be reseeded with loam and seed. There is a few sections where we do have some steeper sections that will have a stone revetment that will be covered with compost and seed as well. But the banks themselves that are within the floodway of the stream are not impacted by the project.
All right, well, I'm not sure I believe that, but I'll take your word for it. These black circles that are along the blue vertical lines, what do they represent? Those little dark black circles?
These are the wetland flags that were established in the field. So these are for the bank of the brook, and these were installed based on the first observable break in the slope, really, that's out there.
And can we discern where the pilings are on this drawing?
Dan, you want to zoom in? So the cursor is now is the abutment. And then if you go to the left, right in front of where the erosion controls are, is where the piles, that vertical section right there. So that is the row of piles just upstream at the bank.
Okay, and these pilings, are they similar to what would be used for like at a marina? The same similar material where it's will stand the test of time?
Similar, yep, exactly.
Okay. And then one more question. Last night at that public forum, I asked about the vehicles. This bridge isn't designed for vehicles, but it is 10 feet wide. So inevitably, at some point, someone's going to drive across there. We have other bridges on the trail that are span is much narrower, and the abutments are made of granite. So in this scenario, for example, if there was someone got lost and they decided they thought this was a road, what is the weight limit for this structure? Can you estimate that?
I don't know the specifics on the weight limit. I do know it's H10 rated, and it's 90 pounds per square foot, which is typical for a pedestrian bridge. I know that is intended to support smaller vehicles. Smaller vehicles meaning like a gator maintenance vehicle or golf cart. We can look into potential options to add signage, or we prefer would not to have a bollard in the center of the trail just for safety of the bicycle users. But there are options we can do to help prevent vehicles going through or over the bridge as well. We can work with the town on some of the options for that.
Right, we don't use bollards anywhere on the trail for that reason. It's a safety issue. And we know that the electric department is not going to be driving their large trucks over that bridge, and fire trucks as well. But we have issues with automobiles getting onto the trail occasionally, and so I'm just concerned that what would happen if someone decided to drive across that? All this work would be destroyed, I think.
Yeah, Mr. Duggan, this is Steve King. Yeah, the electric division is clearly aware, and obviously our DPW trucks, that it's not rated for our utility trucks, 6-wheel, 10-wheelers, pole trucks to be driving over the bridge. Josh did mention that it is H10 loaded, Based on the AASHTO recommendations, that's usually somewhere around 10,000 pounds, 10 to 20,000 pounds.
Yep.
I think 6,000 pounds per axle that it should be able to withstand. But as we go through the process, I think that's rated in the bridge manufacturer will be able to add that to us.
Okay.
And we can put up appropriate signage to match that.
Yeah, signs don't always work. And Mr. Chairman, just one more question about the height of the bridge. Like today, if you go down there, you'll see that there's a it's an elevated kind of ramp that goes up from when you're on the east side of the brook. That will be retained, that ramp, and I call it that because
Yeah. Dan, could you zoom out or down the sheet to the elevation view? Then zoom out just a little slightly. So you can see the existing grade is the thin dash line.
Yep.
And then the solid is our proposed. So we are generally matching existing, or trying to maintain as close as possible. We do on the left-hand side shown in this figure, we are doing some cut slightly. That's mostly because it comes to a real tight peak, and we're kind of flattening that out to fit the 10-foot path in.
Okay.
But in general, we're matching existing as close as possible.
All right. And that would be ADA compliant, that
Correct.
elevation,
Yep.
that increase? Yep.
Yep, the slopes all meet ADA compliance, and the cross slope of the path itself as well.
Okay. And I'm thinking of questions as I'm talking this through. On the example that you showed that had the granite abutment, you mentioned that ours would be wood.
Correct.
So wood to me never lasts, right? And also, would that act as an abutment to keep the fill or whatever from eroding down into the brook? Would that kind of be a way to keep it stabilized over the years?
Yes, so it'll support it'll be the abutment. It'll support the earth behind it, and it will be a treated wood that is intended to last. It'll be a high quality spec required for the treatment of the wood.
Okay, I think that's all I have, Mr. Chairman, other than the fact that it's an opportunity to kind of clean the brook up there where there's a lot of debris in there. I don't know if that's under your purview. I know up in the Frostfish Brook in Woodvale, spent a considerable amount of money hardening the banks in that area. I'm not suggesting that that's a solution here, but it's something that the Concom may want to think about in the future, not just in this one location, but along the entire brook. Thank you very much for allowing me to speak. Thank you.
You're welcome. Is there anyone else that would like to make a contribution? Okay, Georgia, I have a couple questions for you. Do we probably have to grant a waiver to work within the 25 or 35 foot buffers?
Correct. So I would grant, if the commission's favorable, grant both waivers for the 25 and the 35.
Okay.
And
All right,
then,
but we close the hearing first, right?
correct.
Okay, so I think we're all done with comments. So if someone could make a motion to close the public hearing, please.
I make a motion that we close the public hearing of the Conservation Commission, February 11th, on the Rail Trail Bridge project.
Okay, motion's been made. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Chelsea?
Aye.
Ann?
Yes,
Michael?
Aye.
Peter? Yes. Okay, public hearing is closed. Now we need to have a motion to allow a waiver of our 25 and 35 foot restrictions.
Make a motion that we grant the waiver to the applicant, Town of Danvers, 22 Beaver Park Road, DEP file number 14-1360, and that we allow the applicant in connection with the construction of the rail trail extension, a waiver as to work and to be begun in the 25 and 35 no build, no disturb areas.
Very good. Thank you, Mike. Motion's been made. Is there a second?
I second the motion.
All in favor? Chelsea?
Aye.
Ann?
Yes,
Michael?
Yes.
Peter? Yes. Okay, now we need one more final motion to grant a order of conditions to allow this project to move forward.
okay. Order of conditions. Oh. Okay. Mhm.
Go right ahead, Ann. Looks like you're preparing yourself.
Well, I'm trying to read my notes here.
Are you muted now, Ann?
Sorry. Make a motion for an order of conditions for 22 Beaver Park Road Rail Trail Pedestrian Bridge, Department File 141360. That they meet the erosion control conditions and development along the banks of the brook. Do I need to add anything else?
It's a motion for an order of conditions, right?
Right.
My big thing was the erosion control that we have to.
The erosion control is what I've got, but I don't have any other order of condition. It's
Okay,
Mhm.
well, it's a limited project, so we're
right.
we
Okay.
we're well within our jurisdiction here.
Okay.
Okay, the motion's been made. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? Chelsea,
Aye.
Ann,
Yes.
Michael,
Aye.
Peter, yes. Okay, so we're all set to go have a bridge built. Moving on, I saw no minutes on the SharePoint today, so we're just confident that everything is being archived, at least in the video format. So if we never need to go back, we will have the ability to do that. Georgia, is there any old and new business that you'd like to bring to our attention?
No, there is not. No new business.
How about Zoom?
Oh, yes. Well, thank you. So we are going to be transferring from Webex to Teams, Microsoft Teams.
Oh, see,
Some people may have had experience with, Anne already looks really nervous.
I don't have the connections for it.
Well, don't worry. So we can use it from the browser, but so for our next meeting on the 25th, it most likely is going to be Teams. But I'll work with members individually to do run-throughs, make sure everything's set up before then. So if you have any concerns, questions, worries, please let me know. We did the rail trail meeting last night. We did through Teams, and it seemed to work pretty well from our end. I'm not sure how it was for the public, but I think it worked well. So be ready for Teams next meeting.
All right. George, I'm not familiar with Teams. Could you just tell me, is it similar to Zoom or
Yes,
WebEx?
of course. Yes, sorry about that. So it's in the same family as Zoom, WebEx, GoToMeeting. It looks very similar to this. The layout's pretty user-friendly, video, microphone, same thing. So Mike, I'll send it to everyone, but.
All right. Do you know why we're switching? You know why we're switching? Is it better?
Yeah, so it sounds like the town IT department, right now we use Teams internally. So like when Steve King and I have a meeting, we use Teams.
Oh.
When we have an external meeting, we use WebEx. But I think across the board with just in general, Teams has been doing really well and it's become really popular. And I know our IT department likes it.
All right, I look forward to trying it out.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We use it at my work and it's very easy to work with and works well. I think it'll be good.
Thank you.
All right, anything else, Georgia, before we go?
No, that is all.
Okay. All right, so someone willing to make a motion to adjourn, or do we all just want to stay here and talk?
I'll move that we adjourn the meeting.
I'll
Okay.
second the motion.
Okay, all in favor? Chelsea,
Sorry, yes.
I thought she already left. Ann,
Yes.
Michael,
Aye.
and Peter, yes. Okay, thank you all.
Thank you,
We'll see you
everyone.
all in
Thank you.
2 weeks.
See you all in
Thank you,
2
everyone.
weeks.
Thank you.
Bye.